This is a review of The Annotated Godfather, the complete screenplay, which was first published in hardcover in 2007 and then a paperback reprint in 2009, which just has like a red cover. So this is probably one of the best script books I've ever read, which unfortunately isn't saying a whole lot because almost all of them tend to be terrible. And that's not saying the scripts themselves are terrible, I mean their presentation in book form. Usually they're just very cheap standard paperbacks, and if you're very, very lucky, they'll have maybe an introduction or some storyboards or something extra, but very, very rarely do they actually offer any real incentive to actually spend money on a script book. And that's where this book is different. The main event here is the annotations. In fact, I'm not even sure why you would bother publishing a script book that wasn't annotated. And so the annotations themselves are really just sort of trivia about the production or how the film differs from the novel. But then there's also other sorts of annotations like a specific profile on a cast or crew member. And I think things like that really help it from just feeling like a book of trivia, because most of the annotations are, only a couple of sentences long. Sometimes they can be up to a few paragraphs long, but because these annotations have to keep pace with the script, they do sort of have to be quite short and punchy. There's also a sort of 15-page introduction that sort of sets up Mario Puzo writing the book, and then Francis Ford Coppola coming on board, getting the movie greenlit at Paramount, which is all just really great background information that you really never see in a script book. And then, of course, there are lots of images. Now, most of the images are just stills from the movie, which regularly I would find annoying, but I think because this is sort of an older movie, there aren't necessarily the same sort of concept art, behind the scenes photos or other sort of visuals we might expect to see in a behind the scenes book on a movie. So in this instance, I do think that's understandable. However, the book actually does also include a ton of really great behind the scenes pictures as well. And what all this amounts to is a great incentive to actually go out and buy a script book, which I really haven't seen a lot of anywhere else. It's giving you an experience and information that you can't get just from reading the script online or something like that. So of course this book is probably twice as expensive as a regular script book, but it's absolutely giving you value in a way that other script books simply won't. Additionally, another way they have shown that they've actually put effort into making this a good book is that the author has conducted all new original interviews with various cast and crew members. And I think that's really important, especially for people who are really big fans of The Godfather, because the fact of the matter is, if you've watched like the DVD or Blu-ray documentaries or read some of the other making of books on The Godfather, you will know a lot of these facts and stories and pieces of trivia. But by having a lot of these annotations be commentary from the cast and crew from new interviews means that even the biggest fan is guaranteed to learn something new. But now, despite all of these great aspects, there is actually one really big glaring aspect of the book that annoys and confuses me, and that is that I actually don't think this is the shooting script. It may cause some dissatisfaction for some people when you realize that maybe you're not getting exactly what you hoped for. For example, I had assumed this was going to be a facsimile of the shooting script. Instead, what I think they mean by screenplay is that they have sort of transcribed and described in script format the actual final movie, while also incorporating specific elements from the shooting script. Now, I have no idea how accurate any of what I just said was, so take it with a grain of salt, but that also annoys me that they have not been very clear in the sort of marketing descriptions or even in the introduction as to what this book is. In the introduction, there's really just like a one vague sentence reference to what is meant by screenplay in this instance. And so I hope I'm mistaken and that's not the case, because otherwise it feels a little duplicitous, but more than that, kind of dumb. Like, I would much rather have the shooting script presented in this book, because then you get to see sort of Mario Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola's vision for the movie before it started filming, and then you can compare that to the final movie to see how things changed. Where as it stands with this screenplay, it actually kind of feels more like you're just reading the movie, which if I wanted to do that, I'd just watch the movie itself. But like I said, I could be mistaken about this sort of stuff, so if there are any sort of Godfather aficionados out there, definitely feel free to set me straight on this matter. But like I said, it's not just a straight adaptation of the movie, it does include elements of the shooting script, so you will get to read like deleted scenes and things like that, which is really great fun. And there are also pictures from the deleted scenes as well. I'm not sure if those deleted scenes have been included in previous DVD and Blu-ray releases, so I'm not sure how much of a treasure they actually are. But on the whole, I think this is the sort of book that's really going to only be for Godfather fanatics. I think if you're more interested in the behind the scenes or making of the movie in a more general way, there are other books for that. I mean, there are tons of books on The Godfather, and admittedly I haven't read a whole lot of them, so I can't really offer much sort of comparison advice in this video. But if you check the Godfather page on the Art and Making of WordPress, you'll be able to see a list of all of those. Also, this book actually includes a bibliography as well, which is something we always like to see, so points for that. Also, if you're someone who is maybe interested in writing scripts and you're wondering if maybe this book will offer some sort of like tips or insights to help you perfect your craft, no, it's not that sort of book. I think it more than makes up for its shortcomings by being a bit more of a unique sort of book compared to other on making of books. And speaking of The Godfather and unique making of books, one thing you may definitely want to check out that is kind of related to this is called The Godfather Notebook, which is a reproduction of Francis Ford Coppola's notebook that he had while he was making this movie. He sort of like pasted pages from the original novel and I think maybe pages of the script into this notebook, and then it's like handwritten all over them, sort of like directorial notes to himself, and sort of working out the movie on paper. So I think it's pretty cool that they've actually published a reproduction of that notebook that you can buy and look through. And so if you're interested in sort of the script and story development of The Godfather, that is also another book you may want to look into.